Just briefly, who we are, my wife likes to say we make dreams come true. What we do is we mobilize capital for sustainable investment. In Hebrew, it's called tikkun olam, which means repairing the earth. Because I have, in what the speaker just said about greed got us into the problem, I believe that greed will also get us out of the problem. So the issue is, do we look at the earth as a risk or an opportunity? I'll give you, these are some definitions of what ESG investing or sustainable investing are, looking at the financial, social, and environmental performance. CSR people love particularly the first two lines, and they like the third one because it doesn't really mean very much. They don't really have to work very hard. The definition that we use is why you are making profit. Are you improving, maintaining, or worsening the social and environmental balance? 99% of all companies are worsening the social and environmental balance. If you don't know what social balance is, how it felt when you got back from your 4-week holiday, that first minute you got into the office, and what you lost by the end of the day. So, and most companies, unfortunately, still look at sustainability and CSR as a salad dressing on top of rotten salad. And they actually believe that they're in this perfect universe, that we are in exactly where we have to be, nothing is wrong, and it's exactly how we want things to be, like these dogs dreaming of these fire hydrants. This is an overview of what has actually factually occurred in the past period. The subprime crisis, I thought it was a great cartoon. Turns out poor people with bad credit can't afford to buy a home. Who knew? Or this one, where it seems the focus seems to be on saving the banks while the people with the mortgages are burning up. All of that is due to all of this steroid injection into the capitalist system. Companies were pumping themselves up with steroids, and the financial community was loving it, like the McDonald's commercial. Unfortunately, that doesn't work, but the way to get through is pain. Companies only understand pain and only start to change after they experience usually excruciating pain. But you have to align with their self-interest. It makes no sense trying to convince someone to do something by speaking to them loudly in a different language. They have to see the self-interest in this, and they have to see what's in it for them. Why should they bother? Because everybody, everywhere, whether you're an NGO, a government, or in a for-profit, has to meet certain targets. If you don't meet those targets, you're fired. Happens to politicians too. And one of the best ways is to make sure that you focus on the money flows. That is the oil or the lubricant of the economy. Focus on the money. That's why I only focus on the financial sector to achieve sustainable development. But it's very hard because the economic system does not have any level playing field. You buy a bicycle in the Netherlands, there's 19% sales tax. You buy an airplane ticket, there's no sales tax. And yet, the airline industry constantly loses money, and they get a subsidy of about 700 to 800 billion euro worldwide. If you look at all of the money pumped into the air industry, and what do they actually provide for the economy, it's ridiculous. What the financial community wants is they want stability and they want predictability. They want to know where things are going. Here's an overview of what has actually happened. In the last 10 years, we've had phenomenal growth of ESG investment. Unfortunately, most people don't know that because it's been mainly on the institutional side. And many actually believe, well, if it's all really growing so fast, why is it so tiny? Or my perception is that it's so tiny. I'm not really sure that it's so small. If you look at all of the things that were in its way to grow, every single thing that was blocking the growth of sustainable investment, the media, very little coverage about sustainable investment at all. At my own conference for 10 years, we would have media people sponsor the event, and what do? They sent newspapers. They never sent journalists. There are no business incentives to embrace sustainability. There is the focus of the concept of fiduciary responsibility. You only have to maximize profit. You do not have to look at the social, environmental, or cultural impacts. Policy initiatives at the government level are very clearly against this. Wealth managers of private banks keep their clients quite ignorant about this. They do not want them to really see the opportunity of sustainable investment because they're afraid they're going to lose money. If their clients lose money, they lose the clients. The MBA schools are doing nothing because I've taught for 4 years at MBA schools. They consider it soft stuff, not really that important. And management is quite isolated. They have this barbed wire fence around them with someone with a gun, a virtual gun, keeping every new bit of information out. So they're very, very isolated, and a lot of people are not convinced. Yet with all of these barriers, it's like playing basketball with 200-kilo weights on each leg. The ESG market has grown phenomenally, and I'll show you. Even the governor of Montana, who's sitting on some of the largest coal deposits, uranium deposits, has focused on pushing CO2 reduction and creating a carbon-neutral economy, while his interests are pushing coal, because he sees more jobs will be created by creating a Green New Deal. This is probably the most important thing that you'll need to know today. If you look at China's growth of whatever, 6, 8, 9% a year, in 25 years, China reaches US consumption levels, but with 1.4 billion people. That means world oil consumption is about 80 million plus a day. At the level of inefficiency of their market, with a focus on cars, that means China might need 60 million barrels of oil a day. If you add India and the other 3 billion people, you do not have to be a Nobel Prize winner to figure out this is not possible. In every commodity at this level of inefficiency, we're going to have a problem. So this is going to go down, which the financial market doesn't like. So what are the other things that could happen? Maybe there'll be some conflict for resources. The financial community doesn't like that either. So where is the opportunity to maintain growth without the downside? Resource efficiency. You're going to have a massive push to squeeze more juice out of the orange, to maintain the economic growth, because the alternative is not possible. In 25 years, there has not been a single major whale oil field found and on stream. The last one was the North Sea. So we're hitting peak oil in 2013, and we have a very large market that's very inefficient. So how are we going to respond to that? Show me the money. If you want to convince people about the opportunity, you got to show them the money. People are driven by that, and the financial sector only understands zeros. That is their language. This is what has actually factually occurred in the last 10 years. The most important thing, for the sake of time, is the Freshfields report. Freshfields is the largest law firm in the world. They did a report that said fiduciaries or trustees that do not take sustainability issues like climate change into account are not fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility and perhaps opening themselves up to liability claims in the United States. Another important thing is equator principles. It's a guideline for all the banks that they will no longer give project finance loans in emerging markets unless clear sustainability criteria are met. When they first came out, the level was 50 million. But the junk, the lousy deals, were under 50 million. So they went to 10 million. When they had 50 million, within 18 months, about 75% of all the banks signed.